Hi. Here's the car as we have it now. Finally got the flywheel and clutch from Tilton, so I could do the final drawings for the bell housing. We made one an MDF just to check the prototype. The main concern was the one dimension that I hadn't actually got was the mesh of the starter motor. So basically I needed a center line between here and the crank so I could figure out exactly how much I'd get the mesh correct. Without the flywheel, it's pretty hard to do a simulation. We did a rough measurement up. I did a quick MDF prototype, threw it on, and that was good enough for me to throw the starter in and check the mesh, and to be honest, I was pretty much spot on straight away. Then we machined the billet bell housing. So she's all good now, she's all done. It's all bolted up. You can see now really the distance between the drive shaft and the engine, which in a normal Porsche would be, I think, around about 8 inches, depending on you're a turbo model or not, be another ½ inch. This is closer to 2 feet, so we push the weight further forward. So we've got engine, fuel tank, occupants, pretty much as close to the middle as we can. I don't exactly know what the weight split's going to be on this, to be totally honest. Yeah, I never actually looked at that. I'll have to look at a 962 and see if there's actually got a weight split dimensions. Because pushing the engine quite that far forward, okay, it's got a long wheelbase. But you can imagine you've got to get the masses in the centre. Wheels. I bet they're 956, obviously had the shorter wheelbase, the wheels are 4 inches this way. It had a pretty, it must have been close to 50-50 weight split. I'll have to look into that. Anyway, yeah, so engine's in the right place now. So plates on, did the studs today, did the spacers around the back. So the front plate's in its position. I'll do the threaded bungs now that'll fit in here and here. And then we'll build the rest of the rear bulkhead that'll bolt to this. The engine is sitting at exactly the right inclination now. It's level, it's plumb. The drive shaft height is where I want it. The plate's in exactly the right place for the suspension, because obviously this is the upper wishbone, lower wishbone point, so the plate itself has to be right for the suspension pickup points. And we have a 1 3/4 degree inclination in the engine. Now, the reason we did the inclination of the engine is we couldn't flip the gearbox upside down. Unfortunately, this Elite Racing Trans, when I spoke to them, said no, they don't flip it upside down because the internal oil pump won't work, and he said they won't guarantee it, so it has to be that way around. So whereas we could have possibly had the engine up a little bit higher and built the more original diffuser, because the engine in the original is a little bit higher than that, we've had to incline the engine backwards a little bit. Let's see if we turn the thing on. Sure. See, she's roughly 1 3/4 degrees. There is a 1/4 degree rake in the car, so technically it's the engine. It's a 1.5 degree inclination on the engine itself. But now the engine and gearbox is actually there, I can start building the suspension. But to be honest, before I do that, I will start doing the stuff to the bulkhead, do the extra couple of tubes that need to be put in, welding the threaded insert, so then the chassis, engine and gearbox will all become one for the first time. The bars then can be put in. Obviously this is a this would be a chassis point here. There'll be an 1.5 inch steel insert put into that, and then we'll weld the tubes. That'll go up to here. There'll be another one that goes there, it'll bridge over the top. That'll come to here. And then from this pad at the top there'll be 2 holes drilled into that. 2 pieces, and then another tube that'll come up to there, which unfortunately means this black line here, and unfortunately this vent return need to be moved. So yeah, it's more fun. This actually is actually slightly damaged. You can see that seam is there and it's slightly bent, so it's whether we use this tank or not, or how get another one, I don't know. It all depends what condition it's inside. So I can see us, to be honest, having to get another one because of that damage. This here is actually split, but it's not leaking. And I know it's full of oil because I took the scavenge pipe off the other side to get the bell housing on, because the scavenge pipe was in the way of the new starter motor position. And it was just dripping a little bit. And what it's done is it's scavenged the oil out of the pan and out the back, and unfortunately oiled my MDF base, which was kind of annoying. A little bit more spilt out than I thought, but at a slow drip I didn't think it'd be any more than a small box, but I was wrong. Leaked about a couple of litres out, so the wood's not going to rot anytime soon. So yeah, the rear's pretty close to how it would be, and she should be level. Off we go. Let's clean the base. Yeah, maybe not then. Maybe we're a little bit out. There you go. And we'll level that way. So that's all set up now. There's a lot more work to go into that now, which is cool because it means I can jump on and get that. Obviously the front suspension is pretty close. A couple of rack mounts and the shock absorber top positions. Just some confirmation in CAD. Now I've got the top mount position for the other side, and I know where the bodywork is due to this very nice sculpted kind of shape that's here. And you can look down that way, you can kind of see it more. That lower part there, the shock mount, unfortunately going to be here somewhere. Which means I can't lift it up as high as I wanted to, but hey ho, such is life. It's got to fit within the bodywork. So yeah, that's it's nice to finally see that plumb together. And obviously all of this part here was the design that could get the engine in the right place and still have that lovely 6-speed sequential. But yes, no, not many cooling holes in the bow housing. I think one of the lads asked. But then again, you got to think of, realistically, you only need first gear to operate the clutch. After that, just pull, pull, pull. Just lift the throttle and pull, and she'll change up, she'll change down. Did do a couple of minor machining ops on this today. The crank trigger for the engine, we had to machine a piece out here, so the crank trigger senses the flywheel. Also enlarged the actual circumference of the clearance point I did for the nut. I did only 25mm. It wasn't quite enough, so I've opened it up today and machined to 30. Plenty of room for the spanner and such like. So yes, everything's good there, ready to set up. Unfortunately, I've now got to spend 12 days at my day job, which is a killer because things are going to move pretty quickly here. Obviously these 2 points here off an original style race car. There are only 10mm bolts, so I'm going to take that tube out and rate that to a 1/2-inch bolt, just basically for extra security's sake. You can see this one here. That's even an 8mm, thinking about it. You got to think that this thing was designed originally to be a race car. Actually, originally this was aluminium in ACO regulations for Le Mans in the 956. As anyone, IMSA came and regulated the fact they had to have a steel cage, that Porsche fitted a steel cage to the top. Kind of interesting, but right, anyway, such is life. I will be doing another video update once the back's all together, which hopefully should be by the end of this month. So I've got some work to do, so not in the garage, unfortunately. Okay, well, speak to you soon.